Let me be honest with you for a second. Every time I see someone post those Italy photos, the terracotta rooftops, the cliffside villages, the turquoise harbors, I feel it. That pull, that quiet ache of wanting to be somewhere that beautiful. And then reality hits. Flights from California to Rome? Easily $1,200 round trip. Hotels in Positano? $400 a night minimum. Factor in food transfers, the euro exchange rate, and suddenly that dream trip is sitting 2, maybe 3 years away. But here's what most people don't know. California has been quietly holding towns that look so uncannily like Italy that travel photographers have literally mistaken the two. Cobblestone plazas, harbor villages perched on cliffs, wine country that mirrors Tuscany so closely that even the locals have stopped explaining the comparison. 7 towns, all of them reachable by car, all of them a fraction of the cost. And the last one on this list? If you saw a photo without the caption, you would not guess it was California. Let's get into it. Most people hear California travel and picture the same 3 things: Hollywood, Disneyland, and the Santa Monica Pier. The state has done such an extraordinary job marketing its celebrity culture that millions of visitors fly in, hit the obvious spots, and fly home, never once suspecting what's sitting an hour or 2 off the tourist trail. That misconception costs people something real. The experience of a lifetime, sitting right there, completely accessible, completely ignored. Carmel by the Sea is where that misconception starts to crack. This is a town of about 3,800 people on the Monterey Peninsula, and it operates by its own set of rules. No parking meters, no street addresses, no chain restaurants by law. What Carmel does have is a dense grid of stone cottages with climbing roses, garden gates, and uneven stone paths that wind down toward a white sand beach. Stand at Ocean Avenue on a foggy morning and close your eyes. When you open them, the cypress trees bending against the Pacific mist, the hand-laid stone facades, the flower boxes on every window. Nothing about this reads California. It reads like a forgotten fishing village on the Ligurian coast. The practical reality? You can drive from Los Angeles in roughly 5 hours or from San Francisco in 2. Mid-range hotels run $150 to $220 a night, a third of what you'd spend in Portofino. Restaurants lining the main street serve fresh Dungeness crab and local Pinot Noir for prices that feel almost suspicious given the surroundings. And here's the twist that sets Carmel apart from every other charming coastal town in the state. The entire commercial district has been architecturally protected since the 1920s. No building can be altered without a design review. That's why it looks the way it does. Not curated, preserved. There's a difference, and you feel it the moment you walk in. Here's where the mental model breaks open entirely. Solvang in Santa Barbara County is famous for being Danish. The windmills, the half-timbered facades. Every travel guide in existence leads with Scandinavia when it describes this town. But drive 15 minutes in any direction, and the story changes completely. The Santa Ynez Valley surrounding Solvang is California wine country in its most underrated form, and it is visually and experientially Tuscany. Rolling golden hills, vineyards stretching to the horizon, dusty single-lane roads connecting tasting rooms inside converted stone farmhouses. The Mediterranean climate here is not a marketing metaphor. It's a geographic fact. which is why the Sangiovese grapes grown here produce wines that consistently win blind competitions against their Italian counterparts. Stop at one of the smaller family-run estates off Fox and Canyon Road. Sit outside, pour a glass, watch the hills go amber in the afternoon light. There is no logical reason this experience should cost $30 for a tasting and $120 for a hotel night, when the Chianti Classico region charges 5 times that for the identical sensory experience. And yet, here we are. Share this video with someone who keeps saying Europe is the only place worth visiting. Because what's coming in the next few chapters is going to be harder and harder to argue with. And honestly, that person needs to see the next 4 towns on this list. Moving north, Paso Robles deepens the Tuscany comparison until it becomes almost uncomfortable. This is a town of working farms, family vineyards, and oak-dotted hillsides where the pace of life has refused to accelerate with the rest of California. The downtown plaza, a genuine, tree-lined Italian-style piazza, hosts farmers markets, outdoor concerts, and the kind of unhurried afternoon that European travel writers spend entire books trying to describe. Accommodations start around $90 a night. The comparison isn't even close. Most people drive Highway 1 along the California coast, treating it as a road to get through on the way somewhere else. They miss the exits. They miss the detail. Big Sur doesn't announce itself. There are no billboards, no welcome centers, no chain motels flagging you down. What there is, a stretch of coastline where green mountains drop directly into the Pacific, where the light hits the water at an angle that turns it genuinely turquoise, and where the cliffs jut out with the same dramatic geometry as the Amalfi Coast. This is not a loose comparison. Travel photographers working this exact coastline have filed images under both California and Italy, and the files have been accepted both ways. The catch, and there is one, is that Big Sur requires planning. You're not going to find a last-minute room. Book 2 to 3 months ahead. Camping in the state parks is the most affordable option and also arguably the most cinematic. You wake up inside the fog. The coast reveals itself slowly. This is the experience people pay $600 a night for in Ravello. Here it costs $35 for a campsite. If this is already surprising you, subscribe right now. Because the final 3 towns on this list move past scenic comparison into something that feels genuinely surreal. And one of them comes with a secret that almost nobody who lives outside California knows about. Further north, the town of Ferndale in Humboldt County delivers something completely different. Victorian commercial architecture in near-perfect condition, wrapped in fog, surrounded by dairy farmland that looks, in the early morning light, like the Italian countryside north of Venice. The comparison escalates at Sausalito. Most San Francisco tourists visit once, take a photo of the bay, and leave. That's a mistake. Sausalito is a hillside town that has grown up the slope above Richardson Bay in exactly the way Italian coastal villages grow up their hills, not planned from above, but built organically, one structure at a time, over generations, each building finding its own relationship with the terrain. The result is a warren of steep, winding streets, outdoor staircases connecting neighborhoods, restaurants with terraces hanging over the water, and boats moored below. On a clear day, the light on the bay turns the kind of gold that makes people reach for their cameras. On a foggy day, it turns into something even better. The town is 12 minutes from San Francisco by ferry. The ferry itself, crossing the bay with the city skyline behind you and the Marin headlands ahead, costs $14 and is, objectively, one of the most beautiful commutes in the world. Stay in one of the hillside inns. Eat at a restaurant with a view of the water. Walk the waterfront at dusk. Then tell me this isn't the Amalfi Coast. The next and final stop on this list is where the comparison stops being a comparison. It becomes something almost impossible to explain without a photograph. So let me try to describe it before you Google it. Before I show you this last one, drop a comment right now telling me which of these towns surprise you most. Because what I'm about to describe is the one that stops every conversation. Avalon on Catalina Island. Everything on this list has been building to this. Avalon is a harbor town accessible only by ferry from the Southern California coast. No cars beyond a limited number of golf carts. No chain establishments. No noise from the mainland. It sits at the base of hills that drop directly into one of the clearest harbor waters in the state. Put a photo of Avalon next to a photo of Positano. Show it to someone without labels. A significant number of people will guess Italy. They will be wrong. 7 towns, 1 state, 0 transatlantic flights. California has been Italy this entire time. We just weren't looking. Subscribe, and I'll keep finding the places hiding in plain sight.